Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Forts Pro League, where today the snipers are already firing, and we're here to show off the best of the best. This Season 2 match we have here on the left-hand side, it is Hachoslach Maten, Felix and Acrofreak playing as the Armadillo Commander in this mirror match against their opponents Team Banzai, Spinix, and Dami. All the players involved here are fairly well known and across the community for various reasons, most of which include they've been here a long time. They've made a name for themselves through various events, be it map making, mod making, or just good shows, good games for the fans. And today we're looking to see some more of those. Now, we mentioned that both teams were playing as the Armadillo Commander. This is a commander that is known for its defensive capabilities, if not for its general overall boons. More precisely, it gives access to cheaper metal so that players can use metal more than wood without breaking their bank, and it also increases the rates at which doors open and close, allowing for more aggressive or cheeky plays while remaining safer from door snipes. We do see snipers coming out from both teams. However, Team Hachoslach Maten is a little bit more active, a little bit more precise with those shots, as they've won the sniper combat perpetually, and have spent their APM on just tormenting the other team one sniper shot at a time, something akin to an AI match almost. Whereas behind it, they've been doing the important thing of expanding their eco and keeping their technology on pace. 2 minutes and 30-second mark, both players have maximized their economic income as well as kept up with their technology production, clocking in at about 1/3 of the way toward their heavy weapons completion. This is compared to Team Banzai, which only just now is throwing down their cannon production facility. So they're a fair bit behind their opponents in terms of heavy weapons. However, most of that reason comes down to their sideways investment into the upgrade center. We see the upgrade center completed for both players on Team Banzai, and this gives them access to upgraded economic potential, as well as earlier game damage dealers, something like, say, an EMP rocket that could be upgraded to the dual rockets for massive damage. Very effective, very well-known strategy. Mind you, this is typically played when they have invested significantly into early game map suppression, gained control out on the map, and are then looking to wield that control for more destructive purposes. This is not what we see happening here, but instead, I'm not sure exactly what they intend to use the upgrade center for. Yes, okay. So they are actually going to invest heavier into more economy. This is not a heavy weapons rush out of Banzai. They are investing first into their economy before anything else. In fact, despite having their munitions plant and cannon production facility completed and ready to construct things, they are instead investing into additional mines. As we see, the mines are being upgraded and such, so they will gain additional metal income over time. This will put them behind in the heavy weapons race. I say race as if it's first one is going to win or some sort, but nevertheless, that is often, as we have seen, the highest percentage plays typically involve getting heavy weapons out before your opponents. So while yes, there are economic plays that have incredibly good showings, very often just getting your weapons out faster is the easiest way to win the game. You know, if your opponent's doing something weird, just hit him with a cannon. Cannon's notorious for being very effective at removing players who are doing something strange. Here we do see buzzsaws coming out, attempting to snipe out those vulnerable weapons while they're still under construction. Very strong play, becomes a very popular play as well. You'll see that quite a lot. Unfortunately for Team Banzai, Team Hachoslachmaten is a little bit ahead of their heavy weapons production speed, and it's going to result in Team 1 here on the left-hand side having access to double howitzer before team on the right side is really ready to handle that. Yeah, sure, they've got a stronger economy by some margin, and sure, they have weapons under construction, but it may be too little too late as the first howitzer has just landed, dropping Spinix down to 86% a second. Oh. Not even 6.5 minutes in, and Team Hachoslach has taken their first victim. One fort falls. The question is, how long does Dami remain? Dami returns fire. Howitzer projectile for howitzer projectile. Great trade for Team 1. Just because they have extra howitzers, they can keep doing that pretty much indefinitely while Dami, the last remaining player on the right-hand side, can't do that. And now has to suffer ostensibly 3 hits. Yep, with the cannon follow-up, more damage. This is a tactic we've seen time and time again. Howitzer to open the door, standard cannon to follow through. Pretty certain that wasn't a purposeful destruction of kinetic collisions, but we did see Dami just knock out Ackerfreak's howitzer shell straight out of the air, which definitely in Dami's favor. Oh boy, that's a heavy hit. Howitzer opening up, cannon shells sailing through. Unfortunately for Hachoslach, there's not much in the way there to actually hit. Dami just trying to stay alive using their cannon for anti-air purposes at this point. But that's something that is unsustainable, as all it's going to take is a little bit more time for Team 1 to ramp up their weapons and overwhelm Banzai with overwhelming firepower. Dami just trying to get any more defenses on their cannon. Didn't quite land the shot they were looking for. Dami immediately placing a turbine in front of the cannon to protect it from the snipers. Does manage to do so. There were enough sniper rounds going through that if that turbine wasn't present to take the hit, that cannon would have gone away. But at this point, the howitzers are landing for free, which means Dami is taking unsustainable amounts of damage. Dami has to get a critical hit here with their cannon, or at least fire their howitzer of something to get some damage to the other side and hope to stem the tide, because, well, Hahasla is looking to wash over their opponents, and Banzai cannot stop it at this point without some destructive firepower. Let's see if Dami can land a door snipe here, because that is what is really needed to make this comeback. Oh boy. I am impressed with the amount of damage Dami's managed to sustain here and not fall. Mind you, the Armadillo Commander does come with a decreased repair cost, which means that Team Banzai here, or at least Dami, can take a few extra hits compared to a otherwise normal fort. Oh, this is a catastrophe. There is your overwhelming firepower that you were looking for. Massive damage. Dami taking a critical hit, losing their cannon in the process. That is not the world you want to live in. With that cannon gone, there's really no notable way for Dami to now return fire. Yes, sure, there is a howitzer, but howitzers could get shot down, as we have seen time and time again when their opponents have complete map control. And well, Felix and Ackerfreak have more than just control. It's pure superiority. And we're off. Ladies and gentlemen, here on the left-hand side, the sides have been swapped, for it is Team Banzai playing as the Seep Commander, looking to wield some swarm missiles or perhaps rockets. Given the positions of the turbines and such, I suspect we'll see swarm missiles out of the lower player and pure flak and similar map control weaponry out of the top player here. They're facing off against their opponent's team, Hachelslag Maten. Here we have the Hachelslag. Opening with snipers and a lot of economy. They're going to... It looks like they're going for a standard style heavy weapons rush build, opening with maximum mines to begin. So a rush, but not a greedy rush, so as it were. Nice standard style timings. And big shock, the Seep team is playing swarm missiles. It's not terribly surprising. You know, just because people see it coming doesn't mean it's a bad strategy. It works really well. The amount of times we've had tournaments just filled entirely with swarm missiles, nothing but swarm missiles, it happens. They're good units, they get the job done. And we're gonna see how well it stacks up here. I will say, I was concerned about the delayed placement of the third mine here. These swarm missile builds typically require that you run low economy, so hitting that economic low point as quickly as possible is kind of sort of your number one goal. And we saw that goal a little bit delayed. So I am concerned about that, but we'll see how this turns out. We do see the upgrade center, so it's likely that we'll see nukes launching sooner than later. We have snipers just being obnoxious, which is a great time. I love to see it. Buzzsaws coming out early. No major targets for Team Hachelslag with that buzzsaw. Team Banzai is not being particularly greedy with this. They're not being particularly risky with their swarm missile build. It's just a standard style swarm missile build. We'll see how that works out for them. We did have a moment where the buzzsaw was able to disconnect the mines, but that's not really a big deal. A single strut, and that comes right back with no notable loss of mining time. This particular flavor, we do see the nuke upgraded before firing. So while we do see... Okay, they are going to reveal. I was about to say, is they haven't launched the swarm missiles yet, so there is a chance they're trying to hide their swarm missiles and hope that their opponents didn't notice, didn't do their scouting, so they could blindside with the nuke. But they're just launching the swarm missiles. I was going to say, at this level, it's very rare that you have someone who doesn't do scouting properly, especially given that you're only running off of 3 mines here. I mean, there's so many dead giveaways. The chances that you can hide your nuke here is just not a thing. There is something worth noting here, is that Spinix is not going for map control. In fact, Team Banzai has done almost nothing in an effort to control the map. This is generally not what you see when you're running with a swarm missile based build. The reason for that is swarm missiles and warheads only ever work if you have map dominance. Like if the map is contested, if your opponents have too much anti-air, if your opponents have too much stuff out on the field uncontested, then nukes and swarm missiles just do nothing. So it is kind of a requirement that you be very active with your snipers, with your machine guns, with any and all harassment weapons and tools you can to bully your opponent into a turtle-style position where they can do nothing but sit back and build chunks of wood that you can then nuke out of the existence of the game. So while we do see Hagelslagmaten not being particularly active, they still have the freedom to be active, which means that at really any point, Team Banzai can have their primary weapons just shut down. And there's not a whole lot that that Banzai can do about it unless they ramp up the pressure really hard. And this is similarly why we often don't see things like the Fire Beam Plasma Beam combo combined with the swarm missiles, because you just don't need them. The nukes are your solution to the problem. And with that, what we're left with is now it's time to fire. A clean hit. It's going to take a fair few more hits like that in order to make the difference and start cutting through. We'll see how much of a difference this makes. Team Hagelslag is about ready to fully open fire. Acker Freak in the top is sitting on the Fire Beam Plasma Beam combo. I suspect they're waiting for the howitzer to finish, but if that takes too long, the combo, they could start firing their heavier energy weapons here and just wait for the reload. For the time being, it looks like Team Hagelslag is content to get nuked. And I do mean that literally, because there's two notable ways to defend against such overwhelming firepower. Either contest it such that... Oh, it's close. That was close. We almost had a door snipe on this side. And we took out one mine on that side. That's good. Oh, now we're launching. Once more. So as I was saying, there's two notable ways to defend against the nukes. The first is to use anti-air to shut it down. These are things like machine gunners and flak and the like. The second is to just take the hit. And that seems to be what Hagelslag is doing. They are just taking the hit. And the reason for that, the reason it's popular to just take the hit, is because if you rely on anti-air to keep you alive, then there's always the chance that, well, the anti-air fails. And then you just die in nuclear hellfire. But if you plan to take the hits, then you can trade out massive amounts of your base and the resources to do so. Oh boy. Over-penetration, taking a slice out of Dami's base. This is not the world you want to be in. Even with those two upgraded mines, that's just, it's not enough. Like, you need more eco than this. Dami is struggling. Massive damage. Acker Freak loses every single one of their weapons and takes a huge amount of internal damage. You can see the flashing repair. That means Acker Freak is out of money and cannot repair their base, which is quite unfortunate. We see some top-tier sniping coming up from Spinix, slapping away every last point defense, every last little bit of anti-air out of Team 2. That's going to give Banzai an opportunity to recover from those heavy hits. Mind you, there is still a howitzer, there's still a 20mm active on the field. So Team 1 is not out of the woods just yet, but they have made a name for themselves and are here to stay in this match. Talk about a close shave. Just a little bit off the top. Dami wasn't quite able to fully defend themselves before the last buzzsaw comes in and finishes them off. It was very close, but not quite. But now we've got a problem. Spinix does not have the energy production to utilize all of the weapons available to them. Fire beam, plasma beam, swarm missile, and nuke is a lot of energy, and there's just... you do not have enough energy production, not nearly enough energy production to actually field and utilize all of those weapons. So it'll be a little bit more time here on the defensive before Spinix can bring that firepower to bear. However, they do actually, as it stands, have access to more firepower than Team 2 does. And, well, given that Team 2 is targeting the energy production, I'm entirely convinced that Hahosla is aware of Banzai's current predicament and is doing what they can to make sure that it doesn't get any better. Some good hits. Banzai manages to increase their energy capacity just enough to fire one burst of everything, but of course the time it takes to regenerate that energy is quite extensive and will 100% of the time give Team 2 more than enough of a safety net to reconstruct and rebuild anything they want, and more, and beyond. It's a long time to recover that much energy when you have this little energy production. So Team Hachoslach is well and aware of that, and they are absolutely focusing on the turbines at this point, just to make sure that Team Banzai cannot compete with this. Look at that. Take it apart one piece at a time. Ooh, boy. Another heavy nuke. If that laser had been slightly better aimed, that would have been a catastrophe for Ackerfreak once again. There's no way. That's not... Is it enough? Oh, the sandbag catches it. Nice. Spinix does manage to defend that warhead launcher. For the moment, at least. As another howitzer round comes in to clear it up. Oh boy. It looks like Team Banzai, or at least Spinix, is getting just enough energy production to really field that damage output. A much better laser shot, penetrating deep, not doing any critical damage, just barely running out of steam, running out of energy at the last moments, but does draw blood nonetheless. So it looks like Ackerfreak is finally back in the game, back online, with their first plasma coming to bear. Empowered with the Warthog Commander ability, we'll have a second energy laser coming online in a moment. Where once Spinix had more firepower than both of their opponents combined, this time, not so much. It's looking like Team Hachoslach is finally banding together enough firepower to truly outpace Spinix here. And it's gonna get brutal. I applaud Spinix's increasing of their own firepower, adding additional fire beams into the play. They're doing well. They're doing the things they need to do. It's just they're not quite making the shots to make it count. And well, at this point, it's starting to fall behind. A heavy hit takes out a couple turbines. Double plasmas from Ackerfreak. Does a lot of damage, but doesn't break anything of importance. Spinix takes yet another heavy hit. Each of those foundation nodes very expensive. Spinix looking to minimize utilizing those foundation nodes as much as possible. multiple 20s from below. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's real bad. Spinx running out of cash and running out of time. Can't realistically expand back down to that nuke launcher at this stage. That leaves them in a tough position, because without that warhead launcher, they really don't have the firepower to go breaking through things. Like, it's close. The double fire beam plus plasma, it came close, but it didn't touch the core. And, well, Ackerfreak's definitely not going to be keen on leaving that vulnerable again. You see the additional struts being added in to protect the core from potential breakthrough of that kind. With Spinx losing one of their fire beams in that last volley, it's down to a single fire beam, a single plasma against a whole host of damage dealers. A door snipe. Oh. Ackerfreak taking out Spinx's last remaining fire beam. It is now one plasma facing down two plasmas, a howitzer, and two 20 mils, as well as a veritable firing squad of snipers. But those are more emotional damage at this point. Oh boy, here it comes again. The empowered commander ability coming online, triggering the next volley of firepower. Ackerfreak running out of energy. Ackerfreak, well, just doesn't quite have the energy protection to run dual plasmas at this stage. Oh no, the sniper found the spot. And Spinx notices and fixes it, because that could have been bad. That would have been actual damage, not just emotional damage. Spinx does have the energy to fire that plasma again. The problem is there's nowhere really worth firing it at this point in time. I'm betting this was a preemptive attempt at door sniping. Well, a single door does not protect your heavy weapons against other heavy weapons. Just straight to the front. Spinx loses their last plasma, not in any grand fight, but merely running out of money to afford doors, and just getting shot straight through what amounts to drywall. It's a slow defeat here for Spinx. He's handled things well. It's just there's a lot of firepower incoming, and it's only going to keep ramping up. Acker, you only had a small amount of energy. Buzzsaw's coming in. Should clear up any and all of those internal bracings, all of that sweet, sweet, tasty stability tech. And with stability tech being damaged, well, Spinx is not long for this world. Kaboom. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Hachoslach Martin wins this matchup in the Forts Pro League. Remember, guys, if you want to see more Forts, more of these best games, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that like button, because we got more episodes coming out soon. But for now, I'll see you guys later.